Oh, hello. Hopefully this is going to work. I don't normally, I'm going to turn my fan off because that's a bit loud, isn't it? I don't normally use my phone, but I thought I'd give it a little go and we'll see. We'll see if it works or not. I'm not sure about that position there. That's better, I think. And I'll move that there. And you won't have to put up with that then. Right, I think that's enough space. So, excuse me, the theme for this month's video and YouTube hop is autumnal. So I'm going to do something autumnal. The thing I'm going to do could be a card, it could be a page, and also there are elements in it that you could use individually as well. I'm just putting them all together because I really like putting. Let me move my bracelet a bit because that's going to be quite noisy otherwise. Yeah, so you can put these elements together or you can use them separately. I'll show you some of the elements we're going to use. So we're going to make a little pumpkin like that. That's quite cute, isn't it? I like them. I like these pumpkins. And you can use all kinds of paper for these as well. So we're going to make a little pumpkin. We're going to make a cat skull, which is very easy to do. This one, it's just a bit of decoupage, I think you would probably call it. And then I'll show you how I shade my bottles, and we'll also do a nice background to put them on. And there's going to be a ghost as well, I think I've decided. So let's start. We'll start with doing the background, because once the background's done we can put it over to one side and let it dry. So you have to excuse me if I'm a little bit slow here and there. It's just that I'm a little bit tentative, just trying to make sure that I'm in the screen, because I don't normally film this way. So I've got my piece of card and I'm using, this is a Pink Frog Super Smooth, and I've cut it to 5 by 7 because I find that that's a really nice easy size to work with. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to do a little bit of embossing on here, because we're going to be creating a background, but there are some parts of it that I would really like to stay stay white. So let me grab, I'm just looking for my little anti-static bag. There it is. There we go. I am fairly organised, but there's a lot of elements to this video and my desk is not big enough to put all of those elements on. So I'm just using an anti-static bag first, because that's going to save me an awful lot of hassle later trying to take extra bits of embossing powder off. I'm also going to I'll get a piece of paper to do it on in a minute. Right, now the first stamp I want to use, these are, I love these stamps, these are Art Inspirations latest collection by Rodrigo. I'm afraid I can't remember his surname, but he's an amazing tattoo artist and he's done these phenomenal, I love that word, stamps. And those are the ones that we're going to use. So I'm just going to pop this on a pad. This is a spider web, and I've just got a white ink pad here. You could just as easily use like a Versamark ink pad, but I had this on my desk, so it just is easier to grab that. Now I know how I'm going to place my elements roughly, because I have had a little play beforehand. I know it might sound impossible, but yes, I have planned this. So I'm gonna do that one there, and then I'm gonna, oh, this white ink pad is a Lisa Horton Crafts Cloud 9 opaque white ink pad, and it's quite slow drying, so I know I can get this other piece on now before I put the embossing powder on. Right. And I want this one about there. And that'll be enough, because there's going to be a lot of stuff going on here. Like I said, you could very easily just take one or two elements and just use one or two elements. I'm really going to town and I'm putting the whole of autumn on here. Well, not quite actually, but a fair bit of it. There we go. And that embossing powder is Wow opaque white fine embossing powder. And I think, well, I know where I got it from. I got it from Funky Fossil. I got it from Sarah's shop. So if you, oh, I've spilt some, oh, silly woman. If you're after that, that's where I got it. So let's get rid of the excess from there. And now I just need to heat emboss. I need to just heat emboss this. Excuse me 1 minute. I'm just doing a little bit of filming a minute. Can you go up and down? I can, yes. But I'm busy just for 1 minute, and I'll come and see you in a second, okay? Right, so I'm going to heat emboss this now with my heat gun. There you go. Just, and then what's going to happen is this is going to create a resist then for anything else we put on here. So we'll keep those white spider webs whatever we do, so it gives us a nice effect. So I'm using, for this today, I'm going to be using lots of Olga's new collection for Funky Fossil, Olga Heldwine's new collection for Funky Fossil, which is absolutely gorgeous and ridiculously versatile. There are so many interesting elements in it. So I'm going to be using that, and I'm going to be using the collection that I've already mentioned from Art Inspirations. The oh, I wish I could remember the guy's name. He does amazing artwork. I'm terrible, aren't I? But it's the latest collection and it's really good, and I will find the name and I will add it. I'll add it to the description, so it will be there. There we go, that's turning, yay. Good, good, good. So my heat gun is very unhappy, but it'll get there. it's going to have to get there, isn't it? Because we've got things to do. So there we go, this one's melting now as well. Lovely spider webs. It's really funny not being able to see what I'm filming as well, because normally I can see on my monitor what I'm filming, and today I can't see anything unless I look over the top. If I look over the top at my phone, I can just about see a bit, but I can't see it as clearly as I'm used to seeing it. Right, I think that's all heat set now, I think, I hope. Yeah, that's all heat set. Okay, so let's create a background. Now I do quite like, these are the Lisa Horton interference inks, so you get different. Let me get a piece of dark card and a piece of light card and you'll be able to see. Okay, so with them you get it has to dry, but you get a different colour on dark and light, and it's got a lot of mica in it as well. There we go. Now this is drying. You can see it's starting to turn green. It's they're very effective. I'll do one more for you to see. Hang on. Turn it that way. And that one was more instant on there, but you can see this one's going green as it's drying, and this one's going purple. They're fabulous. They've got such a shimmer to them. It's phenomenal, and I've been playing with them recently and having a fabulous time. So I'm just putting these on my mat. They take a little while to dry. There we go. That's a nice little collection of colours. Oh, I should have filled this up before I started, but never mind. There you go. That should do it. So I'm just dipping my paper in all that lovely shimmery goodness. I'm trying not to give myself mud. So that is looking quite nice. Let me I'm just going to wipe this for now. I'm going to wipe that for now. If I had lots of pieces of paper to hand, I'd make lots of backgrounds, but I don't. So I'm just going with what I've got, and I'm going to dry this. With anything like this, really and truly, the best way to dry them is just to leave them to dry naturally. But unfortunately, we don't have that luxury when we're making videos, so I'm just gonna give this a little heat set. Oh, I can see that mica coming out already. There we go. Now, where's my stencil? I will find the stencil in a minute. What I'm going to use in here. Right, so I've got a nice first layer of colour down on there, and now to carry on and add some more. So I've got this stencil, which is from the same new collection from Art Inspirations, and I'm gonna just thinking of where I want. I'm just putting this off to the side a little bit. That's rather nice, I like that. And I'm going to take my orange Distress ink, and I'm using my brush to just go through here. And this is giving me another layer again. I really like working in layers and building things up. There we go, nearly there. Now, that's great, I'm really happy with that. But I've got all of this on here, which, let me show you. Just going to get a piece of paper. I'll be able to get a few prints off this. So I'm saying that my water is a bit on the dry side. There we go. So I'm using that stencil a bit like a stamp now. There we go. And that's gorgeous, isn't it? And I could do that. Get that out of the way. Do that again. See what else I get. You can run them through a look at that, that's a lovely base for a background. You can run them through your die cutting machines when they've got the ink on them as well, and that will give you some really interesting effects too. Right, so oops, I'll leave that there for now. Where's my background? There it is. So we're building that up. Now I do like activating, anytime I use Distress ink, I do like to activate it, so I am gonna just do a bit of that. And I can rub where these spider webs are, because the ink will come off there because we've created a resist. And I'm just going to give that just a quick dry again. Let's have a look. Yep, that's coming together nicely. Now I am going to use, now I was kind of torn between using this one, which is all I don't know if you can see it there, let me put it on a, this is like poison and danger and fragile and all the rest of it. Can you see that? Have I got that in the shot there? And so I was torn between this one and the number one. Olga's done both of these, and I do really like both of them. I think I might use a bit of both of them actually. Now this one's got a bit of blue on it already, and I'm thinking I might like a bit of blue. I'm going to use those shimmery inks again, the interference inks, and I'm not putting my stamp on a block because I just want partial prints, and it's much easier to get partial printing if you don't put your stamp on a block. Yeah. Now I know I'm not going to see much here because I'm going to have lots of elements across there. Right. I think that's looking quite good. Hopefully you can see that too. Let me just stand up to see if you can see that too. Yes, you can see that too. Good. Right, so I've got that on there. With upside down numbers, but that's okay. It's that's not a problem. And then I'm going to take the pink that we used as well and use some of these labels. So nothing too, just little partial prints. That's all I'm doing. There. So I'm just building up that background. Yeah, that's good. I'm happy with how that is looking. And then what else do I want to add to this? I definitely need to go around the edges with this is walnut stain. This is an ink pad that I've had for, goodness me, I have no idea how long. And I'm just bringing that in from the edges all the way around. There we go. It really sort of doing this dark edging really pops the colours in the middle and makes them you know, come to the forefront. Right, let's wipe that a minute, because otherwise I will get smudges everywhere. And then I'm gonna, because my water is running low, I'm just gonna flick some drips on there, because that won't create, oh come on, I want a bit more than that. Let's see, now this is the importance of making sure your water is full before you start creating. Right, I like how that's looking. Now, something else I wanted to put on here is some of this washi tape. Let me get this. So I just want to put a couple of pieces on, and you're not going to see all of them, all of it, because there will be other things on here, but it's another layer, and I really like adding lots of layers. So let's just put, I'm endeavouring to get a relatively straight line. There we go. And I need one more piece because I like to work in odd numbers where possible. So I'm going to put that one here, and I'm going to do some stamping here, so I don't want to put it too low. Right, okay, I think that's starting to come together quite nicely, and I think my elements are going to go on there quite nicely. So I've got my bottle, and I've got my pumpkin, and I've got my skull. I'm going to pop a ghost here in the background and some mushrooms here. So yeah, that's going to come together nicely. So let's, we'll stamp the ghost next, I think, because that's going to be fairly easy, isn't it? There's not really much worry. Again, the ghost is from Art Inspirations, and I'm going to use, this is super smooth, but it's I'm not sure, is it 160 or 120? It's their really light paperweight super smooth, which is great for putting in your printer. It's a really good one to print stuff off on. There we go. So there's my ghost. Let's pop him there. Lovely. Is that gonna, let me just, I'm just checking because I've got a little bit of misstamping. You can see on here, it hasn't quite stamped, but that's, you know, user error, that's me. But I can get away with it because the items that are going to go on here will cover that up, so that's rather handy. I'm just cutting out this image now. I use these Fiskars snippy things because my hands are not great, and I find if I cut out with these, it's okay. They really help me to be able to do all kinds of fussy cutting. There we go. So I'm just cutting those last edges, and we'll get him on there. Right, that will do nicely, thank you. So the ghost is going to go there. Now I'm going to cut that little bit off. Actually, it looks great as part of the stamp, but I don't like it cut out like that. So that'll go there, that'll go there. And one. That's going to go there. That's going to go there. And I need to stamp my little mushrooms there. Yes, I'm happy with that. I think that's quite a nice little composition. Right, I'm going to stamp my mushrooms on here now. My last little bit of stamping on the background, and then I'll show you how I painted the bottle, and also how I put my pumpkin together. So there's a little bit of everything. Oh, come along now. Where have I put? I am making such a mess. I can't even tell you. Right, I'm taking the mushrooms off this. This is another Art Inspirations Rodrigo stamp. And it's just a really nice little bunch of mushrooms. They're lovely. And I'm going to put them here. So just give the ink a minute to settle in there. There we go. Lovely. Oh, that's come out really nicely. Now what I am going to do with that is I'm going to take, again, this is the Thin Super Smooth from Pink Frog. And I do this quite a lot, actually, if I don't want to mask things. There we go. So just going to stamp that out there, and then I'm going to chop off just the little mushroom heads. I'm not worried about everything else. I'm just going to chop off the little mushroom heads, and then I'll add them. There's a little snail there as well, and we don't have to worry about the detail of the snail because we've already stamped it and we've got the detail. It's just the broader areas that we want to keep white, or if you want to add colour to them, again, it just makes it easier. You can, of course, you can bleach the colour out. That's certainly a possibility, but I find this is a nice easy way of doing it. Right, let me see. I don't really want to cut out all of these while I'm making a video, because I think that would be quite boring to watch. Even if I don't even know if that was in the shot, sorry. There we go. As you can see here, my daughter's granddaughter is here, and my daughters, they're getting ready to go out later, I think, so it's a bit noisy. There we go. And I'll do one or two more, but I won't keep doing this because it's not very exciting. There we go. Oops. And the trick is remembering where they're from as well. There we go. There's another one. One or two more maybe. Where's the... Just trying to do it quickly. Got this one. There, I'm going to do the rest of those at my leisure, and I will show you when I finish. When I post my picture, you'll see that I will have done the rest of them. I keep going, if you're wondering, if you don't know, I keep going like that because with all the water and the stamping and the heating of the paper, it can curl up, so I just keep going like that to just try and get it nice, to lay nice and flat. That's my my aim with that. What should I do? Should I do this a bit backwards because I've already done these elements? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick these elements on here so you can see them on here, and then I'll show you how I did them, if that makes sense. Right, I'm just grabbing a little bit of Sizzle. That way, if you see the elements and you think, oh, I know how to do that, you're not going to have to sit all the way through it to figure out how it was done, are you? Right, so I've got a little bit of Sizzle there because I really like Sizzle. There's my bottle that I've done, and I'm going to just go around the edges of this with my walnut ink, because that's the look I like. If it's not your thing, don't do it. You know, I know that lots of people, oh, ink this, ink that, but some people don't like that, and that's fine. You do what you like. Well, it would help if I knew where I'd put my glue in amongst this pile of madness here. Oh no, where are you, Scooby-Doo? I used you 5 minutes ago and now you've disappeared. How rude. Oh, that's craziness, isn't it? Let me just check I haven't dropped it on the floor anywhere. No, I don't think I have. Oh my goodness me. Right, I'm going to have a drink a minute, have a little sip, and then look again. Right, there we go. Ah, that's all it takes sometimes, isn't it? Right, I'm using glue gel because it gives me dimension. You could use foam pads if you want dimension, or if you don't want dimension, don't use it, just go on flat. So there's the bottle, that's where I want that. Now I want the ghost to come in under that Sizzle actually, and I want the ghost can be quite flat because we can always add dimension to the ghost with stamping if we want to. Not stamping, shading, Rachel, shading, use your words. Right, so we'll stick that one there like that, and then we've got a pumpkin, which I love. I can't wait to show you how I did that because it's a really, really great effect, and I think once you know how to do it, you're going to be making loads of them. And then let me pop this little skull on here as well. There we go. that's my little line up there, which I'm going to pop on to a backing paper and things. So let me show you how I did those things, because that's quite interesting. I think if you don't know how to do them. If you do, of course, it's not interesting. But there you go. That's that. I'll be finishing that off and putting it on a backing. And that'll be that. Right, in the meantime, let me show you. Okay, so I'm going to need my little I'm using my little Sizzix Sidekick, and there's the plates. Oh, and that's interesting. My the die that I was using, that I had out, has disappeared. How does that happen? How does that even happen? I don't know. How many times during this video have I lost something? Goodness me. That's frightening, isn't it? Okay. What I'm going to use then is, this is an alternative that I thought of using before I did mine, and this is actually an oval label die that was in one of Olga's previous collections, and this will work. The die I was using, which I'm still wondering where it is, it was a similar sized oval die, which has now entered the missing zone on my desk, and hopefully we'll find it again one day. Flipping heck, that's madness, isn't it? So I'm going to work with some scraps of card, and you do want cardstock for this, and I'm going to cut 5 ovals out. So bear with me, because I'm going to whitter away for you, or to you, while I'm cutting out these 5 ovals. Right. Card. And I'm just using my scraps for this. I so enjoy making these. I think this is my favourite bit of the whole thing. I don't know why, it just is. Right, let me get another one out of there. We get another 2, I think. There we go. So the hole in this tag is not ideal for doing this, but you'll get the idea. And that's what matters. And you can use any size oval you want. So I've done much larger ones than this, and I don't think I've done smaller. I think this is the smallest I've done, but I have done much larger. There we go. Right, one more and we'll be good to go. Let's get another little scrap of cardstock. There we are. A little scrap of cardstock, and there we go. Let's put that through there. So I've got 5 of the circles that I need. Rid of that rubbish a minute. Oh, I wonder where that die has gone. I'll find it now when I'm putting everything away, won't I? So I'm going to start off by taking my ovals and just giving them some orange ink. This one is Carved Pumpkin and it's a dioxide, but you can use any orange ink really, or you could do them any colour. Pink pumpkins are rather gorgeous. So there you go. Let's get those done. Now this is just the first layer, so we don't have to get too precious about it, but we do want them to be orangish. So there we go. So I've got my orange pieces there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some peeled paint, the green colour, and I'm just going to go around the edges, just gently around the edges. I'm not going for a ton of coverage, but I just want a little bit of green coming off those edges. So we're going to do that. There, like that. And like that. And again. So we're nearly there. Like that. And this is going to help with, you know, the shading and the overall dimension of what we're creating. So last but not least, I'm taking my walnut ink stain and I'm going around the edges with that as well. So just taking that around the edges of all these 5 pieces. So we've done the orange oxide ink and we've done the green oxide, and now we're just doing some walnut ink. So there we are, just getting that done. So the next thing I want to do is what I did on this one that you can see is I did a little bit of Harlequin stamping at the top. So I'll show you what I did for that. I used, this is one of Olga's stamps. I think this might be the second collection she did, and there's a nice Harlequin design on there. So I'm just going to have a look and decide. Yeah, I'm probably going to have the holes at the top because you see less of the top. So yeah, I think that it won't be such a bothersome thing. So again, I'm not putting my stamp on a block, I'm just inking it, and then I'm going to come and add some Harlequins to the top of each of these. Just adding my Harlequins to the top. And you don't have to worry about getting them all in the same space. It's, you know, it's nice if it's random. So I've done that. Now the other thing that I used was, it's another one of Olga's stamps. I used it's like a numbers stain, but I can't find that to hand now because it's in the great big pile that's off to my side, and it will probably, it'll appear at some point. So I'm just checking which way up the text is on my stamp a minute because I don't want to end up stamping upside down. And I'm taking my walnut ink and I'm just adding. This has got text on it, this one. This is a text stain that she did. Our Olga. So I'm just adding little bits. Doesn't have to be perfect. There. That will do me, I think. And now that I've done that, I need to put them in a little row so I can get to them all. And I'm going to take some, this is Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White. Now I like this because it really, it goes on anything and you get white. You don't get, it doesn't absorb the colour underneath. It's really, really good at, so and I've had this, you can see how much is in there. I've had this for ages. Oops, that was a bit bigger than I wanted really, but never mind, we'll commit. I might blob it with a bit of tissue now. But yeah, it's really effective and really good. So let me just blob that with a bit of tissue. There we go. And I'm just going to give that a little dry because I want to splatter some water next, and I don't want the white to get lost in the process. Right, so a little bit of splatting. There. Splatting and a smooching and all the rest of it. And I'll just give them a little, not too much of a dry, because the moisture in these now will help with the shaping, which will make sense now when you see. So I've got my foam, this is the foam board. This one is one from a million years ago, from We Are Memory Keepers sewing thing. So I've got my board, and then I'm going to take each segment and I'm going to just shape it like that. That's all I'm doing, and I'm going to do that to each and every one of them. I'm just sort of going around the edge of the oval shape. There we go. Just getting that shape. And again. And last one. There we go. So I've got my 5 pieces, and they have all been inked and stamped and shaped. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put that out of the way a minute. I'm going to cut myself a little base. So it doesn't have to be perfect because nobody's going to see it. This is just going to be my base to put everything on. There we go, just making that. just making that a little bit smaller because it doesn't need to be massive. Alright, yep, that's going to sit nicely on there. So now that we've got that, we're going to take our glue gel again. Glue gel is, I love it for dimension. I find it such a useful thing. So I'm just plonking it on there, and I'll plonk some on here as well. I'm not too worried about there we go. Let's have those two like that. And then we go in with the next two. And don't worry about the holes at the top because they won't show when we've finished. Or you might be lucky enough to find an oval die in your stash that you can use, or a Duba Uber, whatchamacallit, punch. Right, so you can see I've come in from each side now, and this piece is going to be my middle one. So the middle one goes on the top of them all, and you can just have a little fiddle and a faff to get it how you want it to be whatever shape you want it to be. You might want it rounder, you might want it more oval, you might want it bigger on the top and smaller on the bottom, or the other way around. Just play about until you're happy with how it goes. Then to finish it off, I used this is a die, a leaf die. I'm trying to think where this is from. I think this is a Lady E. I think it's Lady E die, and I cut the little top bit off there to do this one. You can see that's the first 3 leaves cut, but I've been left with these 2 leaves and that little bit of stalk, which is going to be perfect to go on here. I just need to pop a little bit more green on there. So you can probably see there as well, after I'd brushed this with the oxide, I used the same oxide. This isn't a different colour, it's the same oxide with a Harlequin stamp, just to add a little bit of interest to the leaf. So I'm going to get some glue gel on there. And these are great to make. You could make a stack of these. You could make an absolute stack of these and keep hold of them to add to different projects, particularly at this time of year. So I'm going to go, I'm popping my stalk there on top of that hole. But there we go. So that's my pumpkin, and you can keep faffing with it until the glue gel dries. And I would recommend popping it to one side to leave the glue gel to dry before you use it for something, because you don't want it moving around. But there we go. That's, I'm completely out of shot there, aren't I? That's better. So yeah, so this is the pumpkin, and that's all made. the cat's skull is quite sort of self-explanatory really. I stamped it and I cut 3 layers, and I cut out the eye socket bits from the last 2 layers to layer them up. So that's done. So the next thing I'm going to show you, I'm just going to show you how I shaded my bottle, for anybody who's interested in knowing how to do that. So let's, there we go. I've got a bit of card here that I can stamp onto, and I'm going to get a bottle. These bottles are just fantastic. I just love them. I'm going to use the same one that I've used in my project, because this one's quite a nice one to show shading on. So in my head, in my mind, oh, you don't want to go in there, but in my mind, these are glass bottles, and so there would be an element of reflection on them as well, with lots of sort of light and dark parts, and remembering that if you do things dark, they appear further away, and if you do things light, they appear closer to you. So if you're doing a curved object, you want to do the edges of that curved object darker than the middle, and that will give you dimension. Right, there we go. So I've stamped my bottle, put that out the way. Let me get some watercolour paints. Watercolours are my favourite to add colour to things with, really. Well, they certainly are at the moment. I mean, these things are, you know, definitely subject to change, aren't they? But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this nice light green. Oh no, I'll tell you what I haven't done, which I did with the last one, is I took this stamp with the poison and danger and all the rest of it. I took this and I used the walnut ink, and I just stamped this so it's just sort of faintly in the background, and we don't have to worry about perfect stamping because we're going to cut this out, so it doesn't matter. You know, you can go over the edge and it's absolutely fine. So there we go. So that's what I did last time. And now I'm just checking my camera. Yes, I'm in shot. So I'm going with a light green to start with, and I'm kind of deliberately avoiding the parts of the glass that in my mind are maybe more prominent, so they're not getting as much of this paint as anywhere else is. I hope that makes sense. So, and I'm keeping it nice and loose as well. I'm not worrying about fine detail. And again, one of the reasons I can do that is because I know that I'm going to be cutting this out, so I don't have to spend lots of time making sure that I don't go over the edges, because it doesn't matter because I'm going to cut it out. Right, so that's the light green that I have just created a sort of a bit of colour with. I've put my first layer of colour down. then I'm gonna go for, I'm not gonna go for the dark green. I'm going for, it's like a turquoisey colour, turquoisey, greeny, I don't know, but it's not a dark green. It's got a more of a blue hue to it, but still very much part of the green family too. And I'm going to go where I think there would be more shadow. So at the bottom, I'm going in the bottom of these bits that in my head, these are, I've just wet my brush and taken off the excess water, and I'm just blending in the tops of those colours there because I don't want harsh lines. Yeah, well, I kind of think in my head, as we have said, these elements here remind me of bottles that I've seen where those elements are dense. They're sort of indented into the bottle. Oops, I've gone the wrong way round with this. I really wanted to come down here. Whoops-a-daisy. Rachel with my shading. Must cast going terribly backwards, but never mind, we can still work with it. So there we go. So I've got a bit of shading going on there, which I think looks really effective. Then I'm taking a little bit more of the same paint, and do you remember what I just said about dark colours move further when we look at things? The dark colours appear further away to us than the light colours. So I'm just going to take this darker colour and I'm going all the way around the edge, and when I come to these little elements here on the bottom, and I'll be doing the same on the top, I'm just sort of coming in from the edge and I'm leaving the middle bit in the light green, and that will create the idea of a curve. Honestly, it will, it does. And again, I'm just going down the edge on here and here, and then on this top bit, if you look at a faceted gem, frequently you'll see, well, not frequently, always, you'll see the play of light and shade. And so I'm just playing with that and putting a few areas that are a bit darker, because we don't really know how the light's hitting this, so we don't know for sure. But if we add some light and shade, it will just give that impression. So there we go. That was quickly done. Oh, I hope I'm still recording. I hope that, I don't know if that recorded or not because I've gone on to low power mode. But there we go. That's the shading done. And then when we cut this out and we lose all those bits around the edges, you'll be able to see how effective that little bit of shading is. I don't know if we're going to have time to cut this out, probably not, but you can see there that shading's really effective, and you've got this nice bit of stamping in the background of the bottle, so it works really nicely together. And of course that was my finished page or card, or I'm not sure what you want to do with it, but that was my finished one. So I've used Olga Heldren's new collection for Funky Fossil. I've used Olga Heldren's old collections for Funky Fossil as well. That's the new collection. There's stamps in the background that are Olga's old collection. There's washi tapes from the new collection. And then I've used stamps from the Art Inspirations new collection and a stencil from Art Inspirations new collection as well. So I hope that was helpful. It was a little bit of everything, and I think I'm going to be making lots of pumpkins to stick on things because I think they're really super cute. And yeah, that's it, I think. So hopefully Crafting with All Brands will ask me to come back next month, or let me come back next month, and I'll see you then. But thank you very much. Thanks.